Good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is Kyla Williams Tate, and I am the founder of the CollabARTive Community. Welcome to our May 2025 version of Open Mic, Open Site with our theme, Threads of Connection. I am so excited to be here. I've been waiting with anticipation for today's show because we have some amazing artists to bring to the stage and to share with the world, and some conversations to have about art and how it transforms our lives. So thank you for joining and checking us out today. I'm the founder of CollabARTive Community. We are a community of artists who are in the digital inclusion, digital equity, digital transformation space. Basically, if you care about folks having access to the internet or some digital skills or being safe while they're on the internet or some infrastructure, like, because folks need fiber and all that, if you care about those things and happen to also be an artist, then you should be part of the CollabARTive Community. If you're interested in learning more about the CollabARTive Community and what we are doing together and how you can get involved, we encourage you to check out our website, which is collaborativecommunity.org. And collaborative is spelled CollabART, art, IVE, community.org. Check us out. We have the banner right there for you, just in case my spelling was a little off. So we have some wonderful artists that are going to be joining us this evening. But before I move into our artists showcase, I would like to just talk a little bit about Net Inclusion 2025. And for those of you who know what Net Inclusion is, or for those who don't know, Net Inclusion is one of the largest conferences hosted by the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, NDIA, and they host this annual conference. So it's the largest conference of digital inclusion and digital equity practitioners and advocates and those who are working or advocating for more digital skills, more connections, more infrastructure, more safety, all the wonderful things that make up this space that we work in, live in, exist in. And we just had the conference last week, and it was amazing. We were at the Gila River resort, and it was just amazing. Being in Arizona in this beautiful sacred space, I was particularly touched by how we opened the conference with members of the Gila River community sharing about the land that we were standing on and some of their traditions. We were invited to join them in song and dance, and folks hopped up and linked arms, and we formed many, many circles around that ballroom. It was just beautiful, cathartic, therapeutic, and really needed. For those who are unaware, we are facing many challenging times right now. And recently, those challenges have hit home in our digital inclusion and digital equity communities. And so part of the reason why I started the CollabARTive Community was to have a place and space for us to not only be able to bring other pieces of ourselves, because we bring our whole self into the work that we do, but bring some other pieces of ourselves in the artistic creative space to the world, as a way of healing, as a way of providing a safe space of expression, and as an additional way of connectivity. I think it's super important in this time that you find your tribes and your communities wherever they are and cling tight to them, because we're going to need each other desperately as times continue to unfold. So Net Inclusion was a wonderful place for us to be able to do that. And I saw many friends and made some new friends. And I'm so excited to be able to bring this space to many folks to share, because sharing is caring. And we know at Net Inclusion, we did a lot of sharing, and there was certainly a lot of care that was displayed. So Net Inclusion 2026 will be in the Chicagoland area, and that is where I hail from. So we are encouraging everyone who is part of the collaborative community, or those who aren't, even if you're just someone that's interested in art or has a heart for art. We're going to be doing something really special at Net Inclusion 2026. So we encourage all of you to keep your eyes and your ears open for when the registration opens for Net Inclusion 2026, and we hope to see you in Chicago. Now, if you went to Net Inclusion 2025, you know it was hot in Arizona, but understand it ain't gonna be hot in the Chicagoland area. So bring a hat, bring a scarf, bring some mittens so that you can stay warm. We have big hearts in Chicago, those of us who are doing this work. So you'll be warm from all of the friends and the new friends that you'll make while you're here. So we encourage you to join us in February of 2026. So we're going to move into our artist, our first artist of this episode. I would love to just talk a little bit about like exuberance, like joy manifested in a human body. Folks say to me that I have a lot of energy. A lot of times it's nervous energy, but I have a lot of energy. But this person is like the walking personification of joy. Every time I've seen her, she has had a beautiful smile on her face. She's so welcoming. She's so open. She is an actress, thespian. She's a singer. She has roots in digital navigation. She's a leader and a public speaker, and someone that I am so lucky to call a colleague and a friend. I would love to bring to the stage Anita Thomas Lee. And she's waving. So Anita has many things to share with you, and I'm so excited that she has joined us here on Open Mic, Open Site as we talk about threads of connection. So Anita, I am going to turn the virtual stage over to you.
Well, my friend Kyla, you might not want to do that. You only got an hour, right?
Yes, we only have an hour, but I believe in my spirit. My spirit is telling me you're gonna fit it inside of this time period.
So, one of the things that I don't know if I actually shared with you, Kyla, and I can share with the community, is I'm a preacher's kid. And so the mantra is you don't give a preacher or a preacher's kid a mic.
I've heard that. I, I've heard that on many of occasions, right? But I
Yeah,
I also am a church kid, so I know what the wrap it up music is, sis. So we're gonna keep you on time, but I want you to
yes.
share fully your experience here because that's what the collaborative community is all about. So take it away, sis.
Absolutely. Well, good evening, everyone. It is an honor and a pleasure to be standing here before you today. You know what? I'm going to even add a little bit more of my preacher kid speech. When you come to the mic before the collective, before the kingdom, you say, giving honor and obedience to God, who is the head of my life, to the leader of this wonderful organization, Miss Kyla Williams Tate, and to all you, my brothers and sisters in Christ. Y'all got to give me a thumbs up if you've actually heard that little speech coming from preachers to preachers' kids. So yeah, my name's Anita Thomas Lee, ATL, and I am from ATL. And I have had the honor of serving as a program director at the University of Illinois here in Champaign. I'm sitting in Champaign in Central Illinois. This Southern girl who have experienced two Midwest winters, and I'm still breathing. So I guess I guess I did okay. Um, I have, oh God, I want to look. I don't want to give up my too much of my time, so let me jump into it. One of the things that happened when I moved here was that like I said, I'm from the South. I'm not from the Midwest. I didn't really know anyone. And I was like, how do I find and establish a community? How do I meet new people? And, I made this decision like, you know what? I'm going to do it through community theater. Now, have my friends tell it, they'll think I've been doing it for decades. I have not. I actually only started hopping into community theater really only a few years ago back in the metro Atlanta area. Um, and I did my first actual performance was called Morningside, and I saw a comment from my sister Anisha Freeman or Hollis is on here representing also from ATL, and so she knows where Morningside is. It is a very affluent, established Atlanta neighborhood right outside the downtown Atlanta in the Midtown area. And so it was an exceptional, crazy comedic play, all female cast about a baby shower that goes absolutely bonkers. And so I had the pleasure of playing that role. I was playing Felicia, the whole cast's only Black friend, and I had so much fun doing that. And so right after that, I because of the work that I do in digital equity, I moved to Birmingham, Alabama for about a year, and I did some work in the mayor's office, helping them wrap their mind around strategic planning, digital equity for the city of Birmingham. And then when that fellowship was over, was putting out the jobs and actually found this position at the University of Illinois system, having me do some program direction for their statewide digital navigator program. I was like, that's my wheelhouse. That's what I enjoy doing. It was one of my first leadership positions, I have to say. And I have enjoyed being here, working here, and meeting so many wonderful people, including my sister Kyla. And so as I was, like I said, I was here. I was trying to figure out like how do I make connection, and I said, let me hop into community theater here in Champaign, Illinois, and it is a very, very active theater scene here. There are several companies and community theater companies, including, of course, the Granite Performing Arts Center on the university campus as well. And so I, hopped in and did an audition, was able to get an understudy role, had enjoyed doing that. Got to be main cast in another crazy, insane all-female cast, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But I wanted to chat with you about this very unique experience that I was involved in. And actually, my little background here is one of the pictures from actually taken from the play. So there is a very unique, we're talking about threads of connection. There's a very unique initiative at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign called Cascade. And I want to make sure I read what it is because it's so crazy. It's own touch of what we're talking about today. So Cascade stands for a collective for art, science, creativity, and discovery. And it is an initiative that involves three wonderful individuals that I've had the opportunity to perform with and for. It includes the theater department at the university. It involves the music department, and it involves the physics department. So Cascade brings together these three very unique coming together. Now, of course, music and theater kind of goes together. We're talking about music, but it's like physics? How does physics fit into all of this? And so Latrell Bright, let me make sure I honor the creators of Cascade and this unique performance I'm going to talk about. Latrell Bright is a theater professor at the University of Illinois. Stephen Taylor, who served as the composer and the music director, and is also a professor at the U of I. And then Dr. Smitha Vishwaswara, who is also the creative director, but she is a physicist. And so the three of these wonderful people came together. I'm not completely sure how they came together, but they came together and decided to create an experience or a performance piece that brings together the quantum physics, the science, and merging it with music and with theater to be able to physically express and show the actual quantum world, how it would look through human bodies. And so that is how Quantum Voyages was born. And I'm very oversimplifying the great work and the work that these wonderful people have done over the years. I believe they started their first they put on their first performance in 2018, and it has been evolving each and every time. And it's been a mixture of theater students, music students, physics students, community members like myself, as well as dance. So there's dance and choreography that occurred. And so even the folks from dance is involved with this. And so if we can start the, I don't know what to look at, if we can start the kind of slideshow of the different pictures that were taken during the performance, that'll be so great. I don't know, am I supposed to be able to see it? Oh, okay, cool, awesome. So I'm just gonna let this slideshow just kind of roll, and you can see some of the still images from the performance. And so Quantum Voyages, I'm gonna actually read the description that was in the little playbill. I got in a playbill, y'all. That's so cool. The Quantum Voyages, it's guided by Sapienza, which is the spirit of wisdom. Two voyagers, Terra and Akash, enter the microscopic realm of atomic landscapes and quantum conundrums to discover a magnificent and baffling world foreign to everyday human experience. In moments of strife, there are quantum sages who are real life physicists to briefly appear to share their wisdom. So Smitha as well as Latrell actually came together to put together the script. Stephen Taylor put together this wonderful musical composition with some amazing artists. We had electric violinist, keyboardist, electric guitar, and actually one of the performers, or one of the musical performers, actually created this very unique, and I wish I had a picture of it to show at this point, a very unique device with magnets that actually made music, and he called it the spin ductor. And so they all came together, like I said, created the script. The script and the words in the script was a mixture of actual science, because this was actually performed in front of physics, as well as put together in this theme of the Greek chorus. So all of the folks that you're seeing right here, there are the three main characters: Sapienza, which is the role that I played, Sapienza, Spirit of Wisdom, and we have our two voyagers, Terra and Akash. But we also had 6 quantum ensemble members that we called them QEs, and they actually performed and did movement, physical movement around showing how electrons will look and act, and all these different particular states of matter within the quantum realm. And that picture right there is of Dr. Philip Phillips. He was one of the quantum sages. And so there were five actual real life physicists who are professors either at the university, in various universities. Some were actually at the University of Illinois, and some were actually in California, because we were able to do this performance in Anaheim, California, before the American Physical Science Conference back in March. Because if you didn't know, I didn't know, if you didn't know, this year, 2025, is the UNESCO World International Year of the Quantum. And so all of the different pieces and portions of this, it's a very short performance. It's not a play. I had to keep telling everybody, oh, you were in a play. It's not a play. It's considered a stage performance, because plays have plots, beginning, middle, end. And this was just a performance that's showing the quantum world. So as we, go through these slides and see these stilled pictures, here are some of the different concepts that were displayed in the quantum voyages. So the first part of it talked about light and what is light, and when you see it, what does it mean? How does it move? What does it travels? What does it do? The next concept was around Schrodinger's cat and the nature of reality. And that's Latrell Smith to the right and Stephen to the left. They did a lovely chat before we started our performance. That was really, really lovely. Like, I wish I could have captured all of this on film and just show it. So after we talked about light, the next scene in the performance talked about the concept of Schrodinger's cat. And like I said, I'm giving y'all a little mini physics lesson, because that's what I had to have. And so the whole concept of Schrodinger's cat talks about the nature of reality and how we determine what is reality. And Schrodinger's cat, that whole concept is all about the fact that the nature of reality, or whether or not this cat is dead or alive, is only determined when you observe it. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. But if you think about, hundreds of years ago, when scientists and physicists was trying to figure out how do we define the nature of reality, that was a German physicist. I think his first name is Eric. I'm not really sure. Schrodinger, and this whole concept of Schrodinger's cat is a long-running concept of how do we think about reality. The next thing that we talked about, or the next scene, moves into this concept of the Bose-Einstein condensate. And that is where scientists have cooled atoms all the way down to below absolute zero to be able to study and define, that's Schrodinger's cat, to study and define how atoms move in the quantum realm. So they're able to take these microscopic particles and cool them down to the most lowest of temperatures below absolute zero to be able to study them. The next thing that this play actually talked about was the Fermi sea. That was a very interesting portion of the play, where we see electrons and how they move and shake and bombard within hard surfaces. So it's like how electrons move in the quantum world on everyday things, like my shirt right here. There's a quantum recesses in my shirt, and down deep, there's electrons and atoms. And the Fermi sea is an interpretation of how electrons would move within the quantum recesses. And so from the Fermi Sea, we see our explorers have to navigate that very tumultuous terrain, and we see this major conflict between the two explorers, to the point where it almost looked like the journey into the quantum realm is going to be over. But we get one of our quantum sages, Dr. Philip Phillips, which you saw earlier, who then talked about how do we manage the Fermi Sea, and what are the different properties that we can appreciate with electrons moving so quickly and bombarding. And actually it comes to it's several different things, but what we talked about was the fact that superconductivity is derived out of the characteristics in the Fermi Sea. And so just kind of wrapping up my little talk here about quantum voyages. The last thing we talked about in the performance is the properties of the MRI machine, and that was actually very cool because we talked through the science. One of our explorers, actually Tara, right there, she actually falls into some quantum soup and she's injured. And the next thing we're thrust out of the quantum realm, and now we're back in real life. And so she's in this MRI machine because they're trying to determine how to find her images. And there's a whole scene where we go into how the MRI is able to capture these images, the science behind it, the waves, the magnetic images, and what these waves do to start then portraying pieces of the body that we can see the images, so we can understand the energy and know how to treat. It was so very, very, very fascinating. And so one of the things that would be very funny, one of the things was that I told them at the end of the show, I was like, I want my physics credit. Like, I'm not even in college. But I had to learn quite a few lines with a lot of science that I had to get exactly correct. And so, of course, as a thespian, even if you're doing a play with the playwright, the director says you have to read the words and act the words as the playwright has done it. And so this was the same, not necessarily because we had a playwright, but because I had to get the science right. Because once again, was performing this the first time in Anaheim in an auditorium full of physicists. So I had to make sure that I got those lines right in order to make sure that the science comes out right, and so that it makes sense. And so, yeah, okay, we're gonna go to the video that I want to show. It's a quick little 4-minute video that shows like the ending performance that we did at the end of the show. And so I'm going to be quiet and let that play, and you all enjoy this portion. You got to unmute it. So we had a lot of choreography and dance in this. So we did have like I said, a dance student that choreographed these moves that we are about to do. I'm not hearing it. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to hear it. I don't hear any sound playing. So I will say, as you're watching the dancing happening, what's happening in here is we just got done with Tara being in the MRI machine, and she's recovered, and we were talking about this amazing adventure that the explorers just had, and then they were like, started asking all these questions of Sapienza. What about this? Is the brain quantum? Is, what is how does gravity fit in all of this? And it was, me saying, hey, do you guys want to go back into the quantum realm? Yeah, I really want to do that. And so, and they were like, come on, let's go. And I was like, well, you, at this point, you have experienced a wonderful experience. You don't need me. And so, what this little video is actually showing us going back into the quantum realm, with the quantum ensemble. Are we going to be able to get it in? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, it doesn't look like we're gonna get the video in, and then and hey, it's fine. Maybe I can try to insert it onto the back end of our chat once this is over, so you can see it, because it was really a whole lot of fun. um and so so that was, that's the beauty of the connections, like this connection between these very different disciplines to come together to do this. It was a whole lot of fun. But what I also wanted to share right quick is a regular stage play that I was in before Quantum Voyages. This is a play written by playwright Selena Fellinger. And the name of the play is called POTUS, and we are in POTUS, President of the United States. And it's called POTUS with the subtitle, or Behind Every Great Dumbass, there are 7 women trying to keep him alive. And I would say this is an amazing play that's being redone all over the country. So if you, wherever you live, please look up this play. And if there's a community play doing this performance, totally go and see it. And so this is an all-female cast. POTUS is never shown on stage, but it is definitely a wonderfully funny satire about the madness and the chaos that could happen. Um, it says it's a fictional White House, but go ahead and play the video. And we also, I don't think I hear sound on that one either, but it was crazy. I played FLOTUS, so I played the president's wife. And the beginning of the play, which I'm not giving away anything, is that this is this crisis that started at the beginning of the day, because my lovely husband actually called me a very unflattering slur. I'm gonna call it a gender slur at a press conference in front of foreign dignitaries. So his press secretary and his chief of staff are all trying to manage that not political, but not political. Well, we'll call it political conundrum, and how that's looked around the world. But then it just starts getting added on. His pregnant mistress shows up. His sister, who's a drug mule, shows up, and it just gets just higher level hilarity to the very end. But it's a very wonderful play, and like I said, it is taking the world by storm. It's being played all the time. So wherever you are, look up POTUS, and if you're anywhere near where community theater is putting it on, please go ahead and give it a shot. So yeah, so Kyla, I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my love for community theater. It is a hobby that I enjoy doing. I will continue to do it. I will say that when I went to California and performed, I got the biggest, coolest compliment. Was someone who was part of a whole nother performance agency came up to me and asked me if I had an agent. And I was like, No. And she was like, you should get one. And I was like, well, this is still a hobby for me until something else points me somewhere else. That was my greatest compliment. And I'm looking forward to continue to auditioning and being part of more plays. I have not, I've yet to be in a musical. So that's going to be one of my next sort of adventures. I've never been in a musical before.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anita, for joining us and sharing about your community theater background and some recent performances. I have been lucky enough to see Anita perform. I went to the POTUS show and it was hilarious. Anita was amazing and funny and had a lot of lines, and I just didn't even know how she was able to memorize all that stuff, but it was incredible. Her stage presence was just amazing, and playing the wife of the president um, in this particular production was such a pivotal role with the other women that were part of the cast, and so I really enjoyed that experience and appreciated being invited to attend. So, a quick question for you, Anita, before we let you go. What do you think would be the perfect musical for you? So you want to do a musical. What musical? You know, there's a lot of good musicals out there. What one would you love to do?
I do not know. So, like I said, I am not a theater kid. I just opted into this because it was so fun. And so one of the things that gets me is I will, be around these theater folks and they start naming and popping off different, like, oh, what about this? Like, oh, yeah. I wouldn't mind trying my hand at Dreamgirls. I think that would be absolutely awesome. And I think I'm foreshadowing a little bit of our next presenter. I the Color Purple got turned into a musical, and so I'm such a wonderful fan of the movie and the book. I wouldn't mind doing that. I wouldn't even mind actually doing Chicago, because I remember I didn't see the play, but I saw the movie version of the play, and Queen Latifah had a role in that. And so I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that as well. So I said I didn't know any, but I gave you several, and to me, it's like whatever. I just love the experience of theater and acting and performing and getting to know other people in performing. So it doesn't really matter.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anita. And I hope your dream comes true because you have a gift, you have a talent. I think that the agent or the person who asked you if you had an agent was spot on because there's a light and a glow that you bring to the stages, at least the ones I've seen you on. And I would love to see even more of that. So we're going to put that good energy in the universe for you.
Bringing out from the quantum realm.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Put some quantum energy out there for you, sis. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
on Open Mic, Open Site Threads of Connection. You certainly have made a connection with me and hopefully with this audience and for future audiences to come. So thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time today.
Thank you.
Wow. I just love artistic people. They are just incredibly dynamic and versatile and bring so many wonderful things to the stage. And I'm so happy that I get to be in community with some of these amazing people. So, again, if you want to be part of the collaborative community, because I know you want to be part of it, you should be part of the collaborative community. Check us out. Go to our website, collaborativecommunity.org, read all up about what we're doing, and join us. We would love to have you as part of the community. And maybe you too can be a featured artist on an upcoming episode of Open Mic Open Site. So I am going to do a little poem, if you will. At Net Inclusion, I hosted a session called Voices of Digital Inclusion, a showcase of art, music, and words. And it was so good, y'all. Like, it was better than I imagined that it would be. And we had many people share stories. We had some folks singing. We had a little fellowship hour over music. I mean, it was just really, really special and a great way to, I think, kick off the conference experience if you were able to attend the session. So I did a poem there, one that I had been working on in this space, like in this space that we we're in with everything happening with the federal government and all that, and wrote this poem and hadn't performed it any place or shared it with anyone. So the Voices of Digital Inclusion stage was the first place that I shared it, and people were like, "Oh my God, you need to have that so that we can point to it and we can, listen to it." So I'm going to share it again here, and hope that it resonates with you. The name of the poem is called "Don't Let Them Erase Me." Why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't never gonna fly. Why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't never gonna fly. I am a blackbird, cut from cloud and cry, learning to fly through fences. I was written in margins before I was spoken aloud, drawn with the trembling hands in spaces others tried to make small. I am syllables scraped from a mouth taught to swallow its own voice. But now I speak, and they cover their ears. They say equity is a weight too heavy to lift, inclusion too costly to afford. But tell me, how heavy are the chains we've carried for generations? How costly is the silence they demand of us now? Don't tell me my story doesn't matter, that my skin, my name, the roots I've carried in soil, both scorched and stolen, are fragments to be swept away. Do you think dismantling the framework undoes the scaffolding of who I have become? Erase the words, erase the programs, but you cannot uncarve the scars from this earth. You cannot unsing the songs we sing to keep ourselves whole. I've seen it before. Ideals redacted, promises rewritten to serve the ink-stained hands that wield the erasers. But we are not paper. We are stone. We endure. Even when they pour whitewash across the canvas, our colors burn through. They want a world without reflection, but we are mirrors shining every truth they wish to turn away from. Don't let them erase me. Don't forget my face, the decades we spent walking through fires so a door might open for just one more. Don't let them close it. Don't let them erase us. We are still here, unfolding like fists once clenched around a dream that is now reaching towards the sun. So why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't ever gonna fly. So why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't never gonna fly. And that's that piece. Don't let them erase me. Now, all of y'all that are still tuned in and all of y'all that are going to watch in the future, y'all remember me, y'all, okay? Remember me. Don't let them erase me. Don't let them erase us. Don't let them erase the memories that we've created together. This moment tonight is one of those memories. And I am so happy to bring on our next artist. Our next artist is a powerhouse, not only an actor, not only a podcaster, not only a director, not only a champion of equity for others in the artistic space, not only funny, exuberant, joyful, bubbly, a social butterfly, self-named, but a wonderful soul with a beautiful story that I also am grateful to call friend. I want to bring to the stage a wonderful artist, our second feature artist tonight on Open Mic, Open Site, Threads of Connection. Y'all give it up for Cordaro Johnson.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, how are you this evening?
I am doing well. How are you? I love that poem.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm so excited to have you here today. So, Cordero shared with us in our workspace that he was going to be directing Dreamgirls and that the Dreamgirls play was going to be playing actually near my home. So I didn't even have to go into the downtown area to get a wonderful show. So I went to Dreamgirls, and when I tell you I was blown away, blown away. I was singing them songs for at least 3 weeks straight. Everybody in my house was singing them songs for 3 weeks straight. So I think we have a clip of Dreamgirls that we can play. I believe we do.
Taking all these years to be free. I'm loving and finding myself and getting. All kinds of bullshit. That's a lie. That's a lie. Stepping to the bad side. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Gonna take me right. It has no chance going on. Something so right has got no chance to. Looking for something, baby, that's a real life. So we've had so much to share. No, 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 no way. I'm not waking up tomorrow morning. One night only. For family, we're not alone anymore. There were others there.
just a wonderful production. Just reliving that right now just gave me the chills. So, Cordero, I'm going to turn the stage over to you. Come as you are, express yourself as you will, and we'll join each other at the end of that.
Yes, thank you so much, Kyla, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm Cordero Johnson, and I am an emerging director, writer, artist in the Chicagoland area. So what you just saw was my recent directorial, I'm not gonna say directorial debut, but my recent show I've directed, which was Dreamgirls. That was recently in April, at the Chicago Heights Drama Group, which is in Chicago Heights, Illinois. And it was an amazing production. We had 8 performances originally, and then the show actually also sold out so fast we had to add 2 additional performances. So 10 shows in total, and all 10 were sold out. Shout out to Aaron Reese Bozeman, who was the photographer who captured a lot of these amazing images that you will be seeing as I talk. So just to go back a little bit more about me, I have been in theater my entire life. I started out in church doing Easter speeches and Black History Month plays. And what got me really into theater was I was asked to do the I Have a Dream speech. And my grandmother, who coached me in theater and acting, she noticed that I was learning pretty quickly and I was very animated. And I learned the entire I Have a Dream speech at the age of 5 years old without any paper in my hand, and quoted it in church. And from that moment forward, my grandmother was extremely invested in making sure that I was always able to express myself, use my gifts and talents in singing, acting, and dancing. And so in high school, I did more acting. And then as an adult, I was doing acting, but I started to feel as though that my skills were advancing beyond just being on stage. And then I became an acting coach. The first place I started being an acting coach was at Family Christian Center in Munster, Indiana, where I also acted, but I also was an acting coach for all of their productions. The Scrooge the Musical, Jesus of Nazareth, all of those productions, I was an acting coach. And I started to also see that, this is something I enjoy doing. I enjoy bringing a vision to life. And then I started getting my hands into directing. And my first big time directing show, I would say, on my own, was when I directed last year. I directed Amos Behavin', the musical, and that was an amazing experience. I've done directing before that, but that was the first time I had, money and a budget that I didn't have to pull out of my pocket. And then came Dreamgirls. And Dreamgirls was an amazing opportunity, amazing experience, a very big show. And I had a blast. There were some hurdles, of course, but the ability to be a Black queer director, directing at a theater company and doing a Black musical where I had an entire Black cast. I had over 60 people audition, and to narrow it down to the 30 individuals, 25 that were a part of this production, we made history. We definitely made history with this production. And just more about me as a director, I've directed also an opera. This past October, I directed the Fannie Lou Hamer Opera at the South Shore Culture Center. So we are going to be bringing that back again this year to do the full opera of Fannie Lou Hamer, and who also was an amazing activist, if no one knows who Fannie Lou Hamer is. But there was an opera created about her, and we directed that. And so I directed that, and we will be doing the full production this fall at the South Shore Cultural Center. Yes, the resume, I say this all the time. Check my resume. The resume is there. I'm also a teaching artist at Paramount School of Arts, where I teach children, high school kids, and adults acting classes. What I love the most about my gift is being able to pour into other artists. I think what keeps our community growing is those who have been able to learn the skills, bring that knowledge on to the next generation. One thing I think that is lacking so much right now in the theater space is that I want to say the elders or those who made it did not really work hard enough to pave way for our those like myself. Everyone is still kind of um, uh, doing the most for themselves, or gatekeeping. Gatekeeping, that's the word I wanted to use. Gatekeeping opportunities, and that's not something I want to do. If I see an opportunity to bring someone on board to be a part of my team or to be in the show, there were first time actors in Dreamgirls, the individuals who've never seen the show, seen the show but have never been on stage. I cast them, so I want to be able to plant the seed so then they can plant the seed, because that's the only way the community is going to keep growing, especially in theater. And so that's something that I enjoy doing. I also am the co-founder of Griot Theater Collective. It is a theater company that myself and 6 other artists created during the pandemic when we saw a lack of space for diverse individuals. And so we came together and created our own space. So, sometimes you can't just ask for a seat at the table. Sometimes you have to create your own. And that's what we did with Griot Theater Collective. So a couple more things on Dreamgirls, then I'll move on to the next piece. Dreamgirls, not only we have a lot of people that are wanting us to reboot the show, so that's great to know that there are so many people's lives that we touch just with this production. And you can't be a director and not grow in your artistry. And so Dreamgirls was the first show that I directed with a very large cast, with a large budget. And I will say we exceeded our expectations on the budget. We were able to get put the money back in and make some extra money on top of that for the cast. And just so everyone knows, this entire cast, this entire process, we're all volunteers. Set builders, the actors, the dancers, the singers, myself, we all do this in volunteer. So I did not get paid for this. I do direct and make money from it, but I also am someone who is okay with building my resume and learning. And sometimes those opportunities presents itself at certain theater companies. And who isn't going to pass on the opportunity to direct Dreamgirls? I'm not. And it just turned out to be the dream of a lifetime. So what's next for me? So I will go to what's next after Dreamgirls, what's coming up. So as someone who is very interested in new works, in new art, one thing I say constantly is that there are 1.5 million musicals or shows created, and in the areas we still see everyone doing the same thing. And to me, that shows that there is a lack in new work. There is a lack in projects that reflect real times, that reflect what people are going through in real life. And so in the next slide, you will see that what's coming up next for me is I will be presenting my own work that I have started working on. Can we go to the, yes, thank you. So Copay. Copay is a new piece that I am working on. It's my play that I wrote. I'm really proud about this, even though I'm heck of nervous because it's really different. As Erykah Badu said, we are artists and we are sensitive about our stuff. And so as an artist, when you put your work out there, you put yourself out there, you are opening the door for criticisms, critiques, and everything in between. But if we are going to continue to grow as Black creatives, myself as a Black queer creative, we have to put the work out there that we want to represent us for everyone else to see. So Copay was written by myself, and it is about a young man named CJ who is going through therapy, and he is at his third therapist at this point in his life, and he is trying to unpack some generational trauma, unpack it's a lot. He's really trying to unpack a lot, but unfortunately, he is unable to pay his copays. And so his lack of financial resources to afford his copays becomes a hindrance in his healing process, which I think we can relate to. You know, a lot of us want to go through therapy, but copays are too expensive, or we are unable to find the right therapist, or we don't have the resources to get a good therapist, or sometimes we don't do the work that we are supposed to do in therapy and try to blame the therapist. So all of that is within this piece. I'm really excited about it. On June 21st at 7:30 p.m. at Chicago Heights Drama Group, I'm doing a reading, and it's free. And it was going to be just one act, but I was up last night to today until 3 a.m. still writing because I was inspired. So probably going to be a full act, where full play that we are going to be doing, a one and two act workshop where I'm going to do it and get audience feedback. There's already a theater company here in Chicago that is interested in my play to put into their season next year, and I'm really excited about that. So Copay is good, and what I love about this is that it's about me. Everything in it is not about me, but I'm a person who writes from real life experiences because I think that that's what is needed in today's time in the arts, is that we need some work that actually reflects what we are going through in today's time. And right now, especially in the Black community, generational trauma, unpacking that is something that's really important. So that is one of my projects that is next. After Copay, I also have another project that I am working on. So Fleetwood Jardine, which is in Evanston, is a Black-owned theater company. They do the Gloria Bond Coney Playwrights Festival. So this is the type of work I love to do. So Fleetwood Jardine, this is their second annual Gloria Bond Coney Playwright Festival, where they take Black and Brown work from Black and Brown artists that is still in development, and they put it on their stage in a reading. So it's a festival. And so your work has to be centered around the Black experience. And I was a part of it last year as the assistant director. This year I'm directing a piece called Company 4, which is pretty hilarious. It's about four Black women who are friends, they're college students, and they want to start their own theater company, but they are having conflicting ways in doing it. Some of them want it to be Black centered, and then we start to realize that in a capitalistic society, are we able to really make everything Black centered without the help of white people? And what is true allyship? Is that even a word? And you know how sometimes when we try to say we are woke, but sometimes we miss the mark in our own wokeness. So it's a really awesome piece that's written by an amazing writer, Kayla Bay. And so that is this festival. So there are 3 shows that are being presented, all written by Black artists, and we are directing it. Again, kind of similar to Copay, where we are going to do it in front of an audience as a reading, and then the audience provides feedback to the playwright as well as the directors and the artists. So this is awesome. Like I said, Fleetwood Jardine is a Black theater company, and Tim, the managing director, he does a lot of great work there. So this is a great opportunity, and I'm really happy about this. And then I am a really busy guy and I like to stay busy. On top of also working, and Kyla knows how busy I am with work. I've also, everything that I said has led up to this moment now that you see. The Brunch and Build, a networking event for BIPOC directors. One thing that I have noticed, as I stated, I do not think that there are enough Black and Brown directors. Within the city of Chicago, within the south suburbs of Chicago, where I'm from, even though I live in the city, born and raised in the south suburbs of Chicago, and that's where my roots are. And so, as someone who wants to pour into upcoming directors, someone who wants to pour into upcoming artists, I decided to do a brunch and build, which is a networking event that is for emerging directors, people who may be individuals that may be interested in directing but don't know how to go about it, as well as I'm going to have a panel of directors, established directors around the city, around the city of Chicago. I have someone from Goodman, I have someone from Steppenwolf, I have some really awesome individuals who have agreed to be on my panel to talk about their challenges directing in the city of Chicago. Also, their wins, some of their greatest moments, some of their lowest moments. How, why does it feel as though there are so many opportunities that are so much gatekeeping going on, friends casting friends in every role and not giving other people opportunities. We're going to talk about all of that, and we're also going to encourage directors to put themselves out there. One misconception as being a Black director is that you can only direct quote unquote Black shows, and so no, that's not the case. But I do want to consistently, in everything I do, uplift the Black voices. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a quote unquote Black show. I can do a full Black cast of Oklahoma and just have them singing all the way in around the merry-go bush. I don't care. I just want Black voices to be represented. And that's my goal, Cordero Johnson, as a director. So at the Brunch and Build, we are going to be doing that. We're going to have also brunch served. So if you want more information, you can always hit me up because there is an Eventbrite link on. It's free. But I really want to create a safe space for emerging directors, for us to come together to have these conversations. So that is Cordero D. Johnson. So that is me, and that is everything that I have coming up and more. And yes.
I am just, first of all, do you sleep? Because I'm just trying to figure out how you doing all of that and working too and living your best life, going to the Cowboy Carter concert with the best outfit on. How
Yes.
how how are you managing like your work life, artistic life balance? How does that work for you?
I don't know. Be honest, I don't know. Sleep is just not a priority. No, I sleep, but my creativity is what drives me. And if I'm not creative, I don't feel fulfilled. I feel empty if I'm not doing something creative. If I'm, what they say, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I have things to do out here in these streets, and I have a name to make for myself, and I have doors that I want to walk through and doors I want to open for others. So that's my tunnel vision. So I guess tunnel vision is what's keeping me going.
I love that. I love that your motivation is not really just about highlighting your own voice, but bringing others with you. That carry as you climb adage, which I think we need more of that. And I'm so happy to hear you share that as one of your goals, because there are a lot of folks out there that are interested in doing what you're doing but don't
Yes.
know the pathway. And you said earlier that gatekeeping, sometimes derails folks from being able to show up to this space brilliantly and be able to live their best life and share all this wonderful transformative art with the world. So thank you for being a conduit and a entry point for those who are interested in the theater world, whether it's through performing, directing. Thank you for being a leader in that space. And thank you for being who you are. I follow you on LinkedIn, and I see all of your messages around equity in the artistic space, and wanting and desiring for more representation, and you're being very brave in a time where folks are afraid. And so
Yes.
thank you for being courageous and sharing your stories boldly and loudly and brilliantly. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you joining us today on Open Mic, Open Site. Oh,
I have one more thing to say, if that's okay.
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
It's so funny. The theater that I did Dream Girls from, they haven't announced their new season yet, so I'm maybe talking out of turn, but I don't care. It's so interesting. They're opening their season with POTUS. So when she when she discussed POTUS and how POTUS is not really being done so much, I just had to say something because I find it funny because we're opening the 95th season there, and the first show in the season is POTUS.
How
And so,
interesting. Look at the intersectional
yes,
malady of both of the artists today. Y'all don't know each other, but she named Dream Girls, and then your theater is doing POTUS. So
yeah,
this is awesome. I love when those type of coincidences, and I wouldn't even say
mhm.
coincidence, like divinity in the
Divine. Yeah, it
moment.
was
It's just
divine.
divine,
And then I'll
certainly.
also be directing for Color Girls in February. So
Yes.
yeah, so for Color Girls is the next show on my radar, on my list that I'm doing with them. So
Perfect. Thank you again, Cordaro, for
thank you
being
so
with
much for
us.
having me.
I appreciate you sharing all this goodness with me and with the audience today. Thank you so much, and enjoy your evening. I'm gonna go ahead and close this show out. We're running a little bit over, y'all. My apologies, but we had a lot to say and a lot to share today. So again, we thank you for tuning in to Open Mic, Open Site as part of the programming of the collaborative community. Our theme today was threads of connections, and certainly I feel super connected to not only these two amazing featured artists, but to you even listening and watching out in the virtual space. That's what art does. It connects us. It brings our stories together. We are forever connected because we're humans and we're down here doing our things together. So thank you for tuning in. Our next Open Mic, Open Site is going to be on Wednesday, June the 25th. We already have two amazing artists already set to feature on that. So join me next month, Wednesday, June 25th at 6 p.m. CST. We'll be again streaming live on YouTube and LinkedIn. Now, if y'all following me on the LinkedIn, I have a small request. In order for me to stream live to the collaborative community LinkedIn page, I have to have 100 folks who subscribe to my little page. So if you're watching this and you are not subscribed or following over there on the LinkedIn page for collaborative community, please go over there and do that so that we can live stream from that page versus my personal LinkedIn page. Now, I don't mind sharing the personal stuff with y'all, but I would rather, help to build up the community because it ain't about me. I'm part of the community. It's about the community. And I want to welcome all of y'all to the community. So again, if you're interested in learning more about the collaborative community, you want to join, you want to be featured on one of our upcoming open mic, open sites, please check out our website, collaborativecommunity.org. And I am going to bid you good night.